back in.
Okay, you're live.
Okay. Going back to, thank you everyone for your patience. I'm going to try and find my way back to the agenda now. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so we have completed energy performance contract RFP. Onto the facilities rundown. Warburg campus fire hydrant issues. Fred, you're not off the hook yet. We had low pressure on all of our fire hydrants, and you were going to investigate to see what would happen. And I hear you got people together. What's the latest?
So there was a meeting at 1 o'clock on Tuesday. I was not at it. One of my engineers was there. I'm going to ask Michael to step in because he was at the meeting as well. Maybe you can
Good.
fill us in.
Mike?
So so we all met on site. We started at Pat Capone Road, ECP, and we discussed the how the piping ran from West Hartsdale Avenue. Also, I just found out that there were fire hydrants that were missing on that road. Somebody must have taken them out. But we also looked at Pinewood and Dalewood, the pressures. We were there with the water department, DPW, and to try to get a scope of what we're going to be needing to do in order to get the flow rate to par. Now, I did meet the water department. They were trying to help me find the other valve that I'm almost positive there was two valves in the soccer field when they put the bypass line in there to give us water, temporary water, because I wanted to know if they throttled one down. Water department and we couldn't find it. Then I had my main, Sammy and Rich over there. We dug in a huge area. I even called up our other, the architects, engineers that were involved. We had pictures. We're still trying to investigate why the flow is so low at the high school. But right now, BBS is working on a game plan on twinning the two together. And we still have to try to figure out where the second valve is that's throttled down. That I'm guessing it is.
So I remember you waiting on parts for a long time to try and get that permanent line in. Is that the spot where you were looking for a valve, or is it someplace else?
No, you were the one that we were waiting for parts was in the pit. We were waiting for parts over there. This is in right at the soccer field where the that plastic line came up, went down. Right. Okay, right. They cut in a T there, and I remember it. And what they did was they put two valves. This way they can go ahead and keep on feeding the school with the temporary line. Okay, and they also closed the valve off going to the old.
Right. Under the big pile of dirt, right? The Filker Fields 2. Yeah.
So, and then they switched it over, and even the other architect engineer remembers two valves being there. So my next thing is I already tried reaching out to a couple of companies to maybe trace the lines again. And maybe he can come up with a better ping. They got better equipment. So we're working on that. But right now, BBS has all the information he needs. He has the water pressures, the flow rates in all the streets around them. They're going to take care of that end.
So you're now seeking the valve while they do whatever redesign is necessary.
Right.
So what
Okay.
we're going to do on our end is run a number of engineering calculations now that we know where the lines are fed from, where the hydrants are fed from, what size pipe, what the pressures are out in the street mains. We can try and figure out why we're only getting 280 GPM of flow in those hydrants. Is it a line size issue? Is it the fact that the line is so old that it's corroded? Is there a flow restriction in the line because of a reduced pressure zone RPZ device or a meter? All of those things are what we'll start to take a look at now, and we'll have a much better handle on that in a couple of days.
Okay, so we're looking at, so you'll come back and tell us something by the time we have our next meeting.
Yes.
We'll have some kind of proposed solution, we think.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Questions? Okay, thank you. So let's then go ahead. We're working our way down the list of facilities projects. So phase one, obviously we've just done a whole bunch of stuff on the energy performance contract. Now we were preparing for phase one to submit to NYSAD. Where are we on that?
Well, we're still working on those projects currently. Paperwork was submitted for signature by the district. We received the package today, I believe, with what I'm assuming is the signed applications. And we just sent up paperwork for the ECP building, only because I guess we're waiting on whether or not there would be grant funding for that project, but we're just gonna keep it the way it was as far as the capital reserve funding goes. So that's, yeah, so we're still working on those things, and we're looking at our submission in early December.
Okay, submit all by early deck. All right.
Mhm.
Good. Questions on that? High school vestibule. I believe Dr. Iverson, is Dr. Iverson still on the line? You're muted, Dr. Iverson.
I'm sorry. Yes,
There
I'm
you go.
here.
So we sent you on a mission for other purposes to go talk to Andrea Stewart Cousins. And one of the little side issues was to maybe lobby to get that Smart Schools committee to meet so that we could get our funding.
Right, and we were told, and she is still advocating for us for that on the floor. We are in the queue. Our application is in the queue, and that's where it is, traveling to the next piece. So she didn't have any clear idea when we will get an answer, but she will check into it and advocate for it.
Great. Curbs and sidewalks. And I think I may have some pictures. Mike, you want to report on the progress on the curb projects?
The curb of the entrance, the roadway going to the gym area, the curbing has been completed. They, of course, they graded on the backside of the curb. They threw the item 4 down. It got wet. It was very soft. I just spoke with the contractor to do the paving, and he said he was up here a couple days ago. It was soft. I ended up walking on it. There's still some soft spots going towards the blacktop. He doesn't want to put blacktop on soft item 4 that's there. He's thinking by Monday it should be dried out enough and tamped down enough that he can go ahead and pave that, and then that project will be completed.
Why the hell?
So what did we get, like 4 or 5 feet on the width in different parts of the road?
At the very in the top beginning where everybody is complaining about the turn,
Right.
that's just a little over 4 feet wider up there. And then I tapered it down to the roadway to line up with the curbing where the parking lot is, if you look straight down. And if later on in the future you said, well, we need to widen that part of the road, that's the part that we would widen towards the field side. We would take an extra 4 feet there and make it parallel. And that's if we end up going that far. But here, I think everybody will be happy.
Okay. I know, well, I'm happy. I'm not the current user. So how do other people? Steve, what do you think? Good, good. Okay. As long as we're here, I think there's some other pictures that you handed us.
Quick question, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said something about it being soft. What was the problem with what was laid down?
If you looked at the pictures that David took, you see it rained.
Yeah.
Rain makes soil soft. So you don't want to put blacktop on soft item 4. Otherwise, the moisture doesn't dry out. It stays underneath there. You start driving on there, and then you start getting ruts.
Okay, so the road has been widened, but there's dirt there. We're waiting for the dirt to dry before you put the asphalt on it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think we have a series of pictures on the bus garage boiler that you provided. I guess we have before and after.
Well, the other picture you showed was the ECP boiler, I believe. But
Okay.
that's okay.
So so this is a before, and this is all. What is this?
That is the ECP boiler.
So we've got 2 that are ECP. We got a before and after on ECP and a before and after on bus garage.
That's it. I wish it was up a little further. No, that one's a bus garage. That one's a bus garage. That's the leak that was coming out of that boiler.
Okay, so number 2 is bus garage. Let's go back. Number 1, this is, what is this?
Bus garage.
Okay, so 1 and 2 are bus garage. Then 3 is ECP.
That's the ECP.
3 equals ECP. Okay, and then 4.
That's ECP as well.
So we don't have an after picture of bus garage.
Where's, oh, I'm on the phone. I was gonna send it to you real quick, but no.
All right, we'll get that. We'll post that. So you go ahead and email it to me. We'll post it and we'll show it to people after the fact.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
The bus garage is working beautifully.
All right, fair enough. Other questions on that? Need BG after pics. Okay, then back to the agenda. Okay, so that brings us down to high school and RJ Bailey gym floors. There were some damage, and I think am I correct? We're going to live with it for the year. We've gooped it up and are coming back possibly to fix it in the summer. Is that what's happening, or is there something else going on?
Lisa and I were discussing projects and what I've been trying to, do last year or the year before. And I think everybody walked down there and I showed you that we have rot in the high school gym floor.
Yes.
So we're going to be proposing this in our next year's budget. So this is going to be, we're going to be voting on the RJ Bailey gym and the high school gym. I believe we're putting that in the budget.
Okay. And I don't think it's on here. Leaf Jackson. I think it's in the spreadsheet. The Leaf Jackson asbestos cleanup, is that a summer project now, or is that are you still trying for a holiday?
No, that's gonna be a summer project. Okay. And Patricia and I have been looking, to try to work it out to see if we can do it while the kids are around. She really doesn't want, and I agree with her. to just rip it up and have just bare concrete, discolored floors all over the place. She likes to keep it at, neat, presentable to the kids. So that's going to be a starting of early project.
Okay. Then, let's see, and the Morton House is done as far as I know. There was a telephone pole with some wires on it. Has that been cleaned up?
No, that is an old phone line that I think you saw that is dangling down. But there's no power on those lines. That was.
Yeah, I know there's no power. Are we just gonna like coil it up and put it up on a pole, or take it out, or what happens there?
I didn't see it much higher than about 7-8 feet in the air. I didn't see
Oh, so
anything.
if it's clipped there, then we're probably good. Okay. All right. So then that leaves only the historical archive, and we were supposed to do a little report on the historical significance, and it's sort of we might present it at a board meeting, and then give it to the Greenburgh Historical Society. And we were waiting on Mr. Pace did respond to my email saying that there would be that he would provide a little bio, but that hasn't come in yet, so I'm still waiting on that. Okay. Any other questions on this bulleted list? Hearing none. Spreadsheet modification sample.
Oh, David, sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, I just wanted to double check about the tile removal and asbestos abatement at LFJ. If you were doing that during the summer, I just want everyone to keep in mind that camp is an important community function that happens at LFJ. And so I just want to know, kind of have that in mind as you're scheduling. And if it's not possible to do the camp there, I would just want there to be communication with the town Parks and Rec prior to this so that they can find another facility to use. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind.
We already know about that. I believe I already spoke to them last year, because when I thought I was going to do it during the summer, we were going to take the camp. We were going to use it where the 2-story building is. I say 2 stories. The school has one area that has two stories where the gym is. So they would probably start off with the kids in that section. They would come in the side door, take and start their camp there while we abate the rest of the building. Once we abate, we were going to try doing the front half of the floor, okay, and then by that time we can move them up, to the upper level where they usually are. So we already worked that out last year. It'll be the same thing. Once I know when it starts, everybody will work together as a team.
Great, thank you.
Okay, other questions? All good. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Lisa, you have a spreadsheet to share with us?
I think Lisa had an emergency, Trustee Warner, and she texted me, and I told her she, to go ahead and take care of it.
Okay, so let me see if I can. I'm not sure if I can pull something here. Just give me a minute.
David, why don't we talk about since the architects are here, why don't we go to the next item and see if, I don't know, is Lisa
Okay, if she comes
coming back,
sure.
or is she going to
No, she won't be back tonight.
Okay.
No.
Okay, sorry, dude, I retract.
Okay, we'll go on to the mansion, the roof project. We talked at our last meeting about how much things would cost for various options. It was 1.6 million, the roof and ceiling project. If you wanted to reoccupy with the administration, there would be an additional $3 million cost. And if you restored the ECP, after the insurance comes in, you'd still have about an additional $500,000 required there. The thinking was that if we wanted to restart our 3-year-old program, that the funding for teachers would come from the reconciliation bill, or the otherwise known as the Build Back Better bill. It's not dead yet. What appears to have happened at the federal level is that there was a $1 trillion infrastructure bill that was sort of being used as leverage to try and get Build Back Better passed. There've been that other bill has since been passed, so now there's not leverage for it. And there are also some concerns at the federal level with a little bit of inflation, not caused obviously by this, but if you're in an inflationary environment, then there's a question as to whether you spend a whole lot of money, whether that will tend to make inflation worse. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. So stay tuned on that. And that may have an impact on what we do in terms of the scope of phase 2. Now, in terms of going on to the next item, in terms of phase 2, the priorities included ventilation, building envelopes, any BCS items of priority 1 or 2, and possible additional ECP classrooms. It would probably require a bond proposition of some size in the fall of 2022. The cost might be partially offset by any year-end fund balance or reserves that we've built up. And as you can see, we built up some reserves. Some of that goes to phase 1, but not all of it. So that may mean that you could have a slightly larger project than you could have otherwise, and the bond won't be as big. The administration has agreed that they were going to develop a proposal, and they looked at, I think, at these priorities. And if I remember correctly, they said, let's not do partial roofs. Let's do complete roofs, which meant, at least all the roofs would get done. And Lisa tells me that they're still working on it. Dr. Iverson, do you have anything to add to that, or should we stay tuned?
Well, stay tuned. That's just where we ended so far.
Okay, so that's pretty much all I have. I can show you the spreadsheet modification a little later, possibly, but not at this meeting. So we're now at other concerns. Does anyone want to bring up any other concerns?
David, before you get to that, can we just circle back to the roof? If the roof work is nice and approved, what's the next step for the roof? Please just remind me.
So you're talking about like the Highview roof or all the
mansion roof, the mansion roof.
Okay, so NYSED has already approved the roof. So we were held up. We could start construction as soon as we have funding, as soon as we feel that that funding has been properly allocated and it's okay for us to use our money. So that's a Lisa question, and Lisa has been examining that issue and trying to figure out how to get that to happen. She has a solution that may involve either using a budget cycle to approve the money, that is folding it into a budget, or of using this this fund that we may pass on the 14th. But if it goes into the fund as part of another project, then I think you either have to use the budget cycle or some other method of voting for the money to come out of there. So we were waiting for her to come back to us on that.
Okay, so when this went up to NYSED, we couldn't send it to NYSED until we had funding.
Yes, we had funding, and it was in the repair reserve fund. And then they said, sorry, it's not a repair because you're replacing the entire roof.
So basically we're waiting until December 14th.
And we've been spinning our wheels since then. Yes. Okay. Trying to work that out while all the other projects have been going on.
So the way I see it right now, the options could be December 14th and how we decide to fund that, or the surplus over the 4%, the surplus over the 4% in the general fund.
Correct.
Thank you.
Faisal?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Firstly, thank you to everybody who's put hard work into everything that's been done so far, and a lot has been done over the past few months. I had two quick questions regarding the proposal that'll be coming forward from Ms. Raymond and Dr. Iverson. I know that the questions might not be answered right now, but I was wondering if the committee would get a look at the proposed plan for the phase 2 for with the money we have saved up after Christmas. So I just wanted a time frame on that proposal, when we would be able to see it. And secondly, wanted to raise the issue of the bond. From my understanding, being here for a very limited time in the community of 3 years right now, but generally a bond is, people have red flags the moment they hear about bonds when it comes to the school district. And having a discussion right now without looking at the plan, I think we should be cognizant of that fact, right? That there is history when it comes to a bond to the school district, and we should be aware of that when we look at the proposal and any funding we have. The other thing I would want to flag is that we saved money last year, which is great. A significant amount that we can use, which is great. But one of the concerns that people might say that you saved money last year, why do you need a bond this year, right? And we need to be cognizant of that fact as well. There might be resistance, there might not be resistance. It's all community politics at play, but we need to be aware of those things when we put the proposal forward. And I'm just bringing this up to the attention of everybody present, that we would like to see changes made to the school district, improvements made, but we should have an ironclad proposal that takes into account concerns that we've had and dealt with over the past 2-3 years, right? We should foresee those situations coming up and be prepared to deal with them whenever the proposal comes forward. Thank you. Over.
Thank you. Carol?
I just wanted to comment, you put under here that we would have a bond proposition in fall of 2022. By stating it would be in the fall, that means that we would be having a special election with all the issues that we have this year regarding a special election in terms of getting machines and advertising. So I would hope that we would be trying to schedule a bond proposition to coincide with our usual annual elections.
I can say that I brought that up at our last meeting, and the overhead required to get ready for the second proposal meant that the deadlines were very, very tight, and the administration kind of said, we'd probably do a lot better job if we did it a little bit later. And so that's why it's sitting there on the agenda, since that was the kind of the position of the administration. We kind of said, well, we'd rather do it right than rush it.
I understand, but I'm thinking perhaps it would be better to delay it. It's something to keep in mind, not lock us into doing it in the fall of 2022. That's all.
Okay, so obviously if you let it out to the next budget cycle, you would certainly have plenty of time to design. And I was pushing for it because I was trying to get the roofs tightened up as much as possible. I've been looking at the R.J. Bailey auditorium with the paint peeling in the ceiling forever, and feeling like, all right, now the kids are coming back. We're going to need to use those things, and that got pushed back by the ventilation concerns, right? The reason that's not in phase 1 is because we wanted the air quality to be like it should because of the pandemic.
David, I understand all the concerns. I just want to say, let's not lock us into fall and having to have a special election. That's all.
Okay. Suggestion noted. All right. Other concerns? Yes, Chris.
Unless there's someone else, I'll take a second turn. First thing, I just wanted to ask, is Mike still on the call? Hopefully, yes.
Yes, I'm still here.
Can you, the lighting over at the Woodlands campus, I know there's a couple, I know we've discussed this in the past. Can you just update us on the lighting and the poles? And there was like a pole missing near the turn into the football field. What's the situation on getting those working?
There is one light post that I guess a car hit and came down. Right now, I was supposed to get a price on it. I didn't get a price on it yet. And, once that comes in, if I have it enough in my budget this year, I'll take care of it this year. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to wait for next year budget.
Okay, and what about the poles that are in and just aren't functioning?
I didn't hear anything about not functioning lights.
Okay.
I will have my staff take a look at it, my night crew, and drive up and down the path, see which ones are working and which ones are not.
Yeah, some I believe are out and some flicker occasionally. So
Okay.
thank you. And
Carol?
then, sorry,
No,
David,
that's
just a
okay.
request for the next meeting. Can we get, if we're going to start talking about the next phases, I'd like to see not just the suggested spreadsheet, but also an update on the reserve funds, and maybe that should wait till after the votes for the January meeting. Never mind.
Okay. Carol?
When we have property damage from motor vehicle accidents, do we recoup the cost of the repairs from the person who created the accident?
If we find out who caused the damage,
So in the case of this particular light pole, we don't know who did it?
I went down there one morning and it was across the road.
Thank you.
Other questions? The time is now 8:50. Oh, Faisal?
Sorry, I know this was discussed in the last meeting about getting additional support for the mansion outside of the GCSD budget. You had talked about the Odell House and how they had a one-to-one support mechanism or funding mechanism, right? Has anybody else reached out to some of the entities that might have a say in the mansion, like the American Ballet Society, because of the history linked to it? Have we reached out to them? Have we heard anything from them? And the second thing I wanted to bring up was Regeneron is a huge employer, taxpayer in the county as a whole, but also within Greenburgh itself. Have we spoken to them about any STEM work that they could potentially fund or support? There is, I understand from my wife who works at Regeneron, that there is an interest in the company to help out with education and other avenues, especially over the past 2 years with the political situation that has happened in the US. So if nobody has, maybe somebody from the board or from the administration can reach out to Regeneron through their public relations office and see what they have available. Just 2 suggestions off the top of my head to make our funding situation a little easier and less on the administration, maybe get funding from other sources. Over. Thank you.
And that is a good suggestion. I would also say that I was waiting to see if the Society for Black Engineers was a viable club, and I think it was on the approved list this year. So it may be that we may also be looking for mentors. So in addition to the funding piece, there's also a possible like a manpower piece or person power piece that we may be able to make use of. So yes, that is a good idea, and we should reach out, and I'll take that over to the CEC and see what we get.
Thank you.
Katie.
Yeah, I know this takes us back a little bit, but the issue with the hydrants, and I know we don't even know exactly what it is yet, but when that becomes determined, is that, like, I would guess it is, but is it a high level priority, and where would the funding come to pay for them, for the rectifying of that?
Okay, so my understanding is that it's an emergency in the way that a boiler emergency would happen or when we had the water interruption before, because it's about safety. So I believe, and I wish Lisa were here, but I believe what we do is we declare it as an emergency, and then we fix it, and then NYSED approves the work after the fact. Because they won't stop you from making things better. At least that's how it's gone with all the other problems like this that we've had. So we don't have to sit and wait for NYSED to approve of a designed fix. We design and fix and submit.
And pay for it.
And pay for it. Yes, we do. Yes. All right. Are there any other questions? Any other issues to bring up? I want to thank you all for coming. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Thank you all for coming. See you at the next meeting. Good night.